This is an introduction to Excel's basic formulas. And the Excel formulas always follow the BODMAS rule. The BODMAS rule, as you may recall after your high school training, is in that order. And the BODMAS is the acronym short for B for brackets, O for order, which is the power of. These are the symbols used on the keyboard, followed by D for division, M for multiplication, A for addition, and S for subtraction. Now, the BODMAS rule is the order that the mathematical calculation or a formula would be applied and adopted. It generally runs from left to right. However, if it's in the order also of the BODMAS rule, in other words, the brackets would be looked at first, followed by your order or a square root or a power of is not generally used a lot, but division is used quite often, multiplication is used quite often, and these would be done before an addition, and addition would be done before the subtraction. As an example, I have a formula here, just 8 plus 2 times 5. Excel would give you an answer of 18 because of the BODMAS rule. Normally you would go from left to right, so we would go 8 plus 2 times 5. However, Excel would look at it in relationship to the BODMAS rule and look at the multiplication symbol first, which is in the order here, number 4, number 4. So, and then a plus addition is 5. So the multiplication would be done first. So it'd be 5 times 2 is 10, plus 8 would give you the answer of 18. 5 2s are 10, plus 8 is 18. Now, if you actually wanted to run from left to right, what you need to do is actually put brackets around the first two digits. So the brackets will be, it's telling the Excel program to actually run in the BODMAS order and do the brackets first, and then followed by the multiplication second. So that would give you the 8 plus 2, which will be 10, times 5 equals 50. And this is the true answer that we are looking for. If you don't use the brackets and follow the BODMAS rule and just put your calculation in, you'll get an incorrect answer. We'll look into more depth into this shortly. If I click on it's listed as general. So if I click down and click on percentage, it'll show there at 8.33%. Now I don't want two decimal places, so while I have the cursor, sort of the white cross cursor in the active cell, I'll right button on that, go down to Format Cells, and it's showing percentage, but it's showing two decimal places. Just click on the lower drop down and we'll reduce to 1 and then back to 0. So we don't want any decimal places. So it's just showing 8%. Now what we can do, that looks okay now. So what we do is go to the bottom right hand corner of that cell and drag that down. So all the information that we put in there has been changed to suit that particular cell and all the others that we're dragging it up above and below. So that looks pretty good to me. So let's go over here and put in a number so we know the end result, what it will be. We put in 100 there and put in 110, so it's 10% above, and that's what it's showing here, showing 10%. Okay, but it's showing as an amber. So what we need to do is to check the actual calculation, and we click on that cell again. So on that cell, we'll then check the conditional formatting. So up here on conditional formatting, I'll left button on that, go down to Manage Rules, and we'll have a look and see what is listed. We want to click on that one rule that's in place, edit rule, and that's the correct formula. Format all cells based on their value. However, we are showing 3 different colored arrows, and we need to change that. Icon set is correct. You've got a drop-down list there. You can show 2 colors, data bars or icon set. Icon set is good. Over here, that should be not percentage, but it should be number. And we change both those to number. Now, the actual number we want as 10% is 0.1 is the number. And we also, before we click away from that, we will take this amber arrow out, and we drop down here. It gives you a great selection of the other options. We just want the red down arrow. So it's either green up at 10% and above, it says greater than or equal to 10%, or less than 0.1 or less than 10% is red arrow down. So we click OK on that, we apply that, click OK, and that's corrected the problem here. Yeah, that looks good. So now with that in place, we can go to the bottom right-hand corner with the black cross, slide that down, and we're still getting the division error, which I'll show you how to correct that in a moment. And we'll take that up the top. Okay, that looks pretty good. All right, now I'll go back onto that cell with a value of 10%. Now the formula in here is correct. It's giving you the right answer. However, when you don't have a value in these cells below, that's giving you this division error. The way to fix that is to click just to the right of the equal sign, and we put an if formula and wrap that formula that we've just developed there into a if formula. So we type in if open bracket, and we're looking at the cell on that same row in G9. If G9 equals, and I'll do a double quotation, if what that's telling Excel is to say if the value in G9 equals nothing, or it's empty, a comma, and if that calculation is actually through the if statement is true, then we'll do the first action as per after the comma. Now, if it is true, if it is empty, then we want to show the cell where the formula is as empty. So we put another double quotes in, another comma. So then the first part of this is if this part of the equation is true, then do this. If this part of the equation is false, then do that. So we know the formula is okay. So we can close that off with a bracket and then click enter. Now if I click on that cell, go to the black arrow, the black cross on the bottom right-hand corner, slide that down, it clears all that error message that's coming up. And I can then go up from there as well and cover all. So the numbers you'll see in here won't change, but wherever it's showing there's no numbers in that row, then it's not showing any messy sort of error. I'll just take that out, delete that, and it should clear that as well. That's good. So what we can do then is to copy this, the values in this cell, copy that, bring it across the same row, put it into here, and paste it. And that's showing an 80% down, which looks about right, whereas 500,000 in January, then 100,000 in February, so it's well down. So it's down by 80%, minus 80%, the red arrow down. And then from here we can use the black arrow, bring that up, and then bring it down through the whole sheet. There we go, and let's fix that issue. Now, just very quickly, if we then make this row a little bit higher, we can then tidy this up, click in that cell, we can then go to wrap text, and then close that cell and the column width off. Close it off a little bit more till that's it. That looks pretty good. And we'll do the same with this column here too. We can then actually, I'd click on the cell first. We'll go to wrap text, and then we'll reduce the width of the column until we've just got that bracket down below. That looks pretty good. These columns don't need to be as wide as that as well. They can be reduced. So just to tidy all this up a little bit more. These are hours worked in each of the months by the salesperson, and these results here, the actual sales in each month for that salesperson. So let's tidy that up a little bit, and it's got the formulas working correctly with the conditional formatting with the green arrow pointing up and the red arrow pointing down, and the turning point is at 10%. Okay, well, I hope that's helpful to you, and I hope that sort of helps you to sort of understand part of the function of the BODMAS rule and some basic formulas. So until next time, stay safe.